Last week, I went to my very first queer speed dating event, and as promised, I'm going to tell you all about it. I had never been to any speed dating events before, let alone a queer speed dating event, so it was totally new for me, but I'm really glad that I went. It was a great experience, I learned a lot about myself, and I'm excited to talk about it. So first, I'm going to tell you how it worked, how it was all set up. I had bought my ticket already, and me and the other participants had gotten emails from the organizers that said we needed to set up a profile. And this was kind of surprising because one of the reasons I was going to a speed dating event was specifically because it was in person rather than profile related like app dating. But I was like, you know what? I'm committed to the process, so okay, I'll make my profile. Now the profile itself was actually very simple. It just included our name, a picture of us, our birth date, a range of ages of a potential date. So for me, I put 5 years younger and 5 years older. I'm 34, so I put 29 to 39. Had to do some math there for a second. I think that was what I put. And then there was a part that personally I was a little uncomfy with, which was they asked us to rate ourselves on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being masculine and 5 being feminine. And because my gender presentation does not always accurately reflect how I feel inside, this was a really hard exercise for me. But again, I was like, you know what? I'm committed to the process. Even though this is not my favorite thing, I wish they had just asked for pronouns, but I get it. I think they were trying to match people, I think, based on presentation. So that's how I ended up rating myself. I put myself as a 4 because I present pretty femme, but definitely not like super femme. So that's what I ended up going with, even though like that doesn't really reflect how I feel. And then it asked us also to rate our ideal date, like where would they be on the gender or the mask to femme ratio. And again, I think they were asking presentation wise, and I was actually having a really hard time with this one too because I am not attracted to only just one number on that scale, and I was very happy to find out once I actually got there to the event that I could pick more than one number. So anyways, that part was not my favorite and a little bit weird, but again, I was like, I'm committed to the process, I'm here, I'm just trying it out, let's see how it goes. So I got to the event and there was a good, like, I would say 30 minutes of kind of just hanging around. There was a table where we could go and check in and say our name, and then they would find us on the list. We wrote our name tags, and then everyone was just kind of like awkwardly milling about and mingling. There's a little bit of mingling, a little bit of chatting, a little bit of standing there. And there was also a bar, so people were getting drinks. I myself got a strawberry margarita and it was delicious. And then finally the host gave a long speech about what their organization was, how the event was going to work, and just kind of a whole introduction. And the host explained that we would be getting texts on our phones that would be telling us the next step. So it was interesting that it was like an in-person event, but our phones were like a big part of it. And basically, the way that we all got matched with each other was through an algorithm. So that was the point of the profiles. An algorithm would match us up, and then we would get the texts that would tell us which table to go to, because all the tables were numbered, and who we would be meeting. So the first text came and it would say, "This is round 1. Please go to table 13, for example, to meet with," and then the person's name. And there were 2 rooms. One was kind of on like a patio and one was inside. And there were a whole assortment of tables. Some were like benches, some were like folding tables, some were these like almost like restaurant style tables. It was just like kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different tables. And so each time we switched to another table, it was a little bit chaotic because there were a lot of people and you were going around looking for the tables and everyone was like kind of running into each other. But we were able to figure it out. Everyone would find their person that they were meeting next. And then we had 5 minutes, thus the speed dating. And let me tell you, if you've never done speed dating before, it is fast. Like, I knew that going in, but I didn't really know that until I experienced it. And then I was like, holy shit, this is fast. I felt like, we're rushing. Like, hello, hi, this is me. Who are you? Give me all the details, because we literally only have 5 minutes. But after the 5 minutes was up, then we would get another text and it would tell us, okay, round whatever is over. Now you need to rate the person. And once again, we were doing this on our phone. Now, the rating system was interesting. We could choose date. So that was if you had a interest in seeing this person again on a date. We could choose friend. That's where, you know, you like them, but you're feeling more friendship vibes. We could choose money. And I guess maybe I just wasn't listening during this part when they explained it, but I don't really know what the money thing was for. I'm guessing it was like a networking option. Like maybe if you know, thought that they would be good for your business or something like that. Very corporate. So that was an option. You could choose the no thank you option. I can't remember exactly how they worded it. It was like none or no thank you or something. Or you could say never again. And honestly, I was appreciative of that one because what if you run into one of your exes at one of these things? It is very helpful to be able to say no thank you. And the host explained that if you select never again, if you come to a future event hosted by these same people, you will never again be matched with that person. And to clarify, you do not have to rate people to their face. You're just doing it on your phone. So hopefully they don't see your answer. So if you're saying none, they're not going to see it unless you have it open on the table. And then after the rating is done, then you would get the next text to go meet the next person. We ended up doing a total of 10 rotations. So we all got matched up with 10 different people. And I can't remember exactly how many tables there were, but I know that they were at least in the high teens. So I want to say like maybe 16 to 18 tables. So honestly, a good turnout, a lot of people. It was definitely not what I was expecting. For some reason, every time I've ever thought of speed dating, I pictured a really long table where everyone's just facing each other all the way down the table. Just like one continuous long table with couples just like sitting side by side, and then like some kind of timer. And when the timer's up, everybody on one side just stands up, moves over, sits down. I don't know why, but that's what I pictured. And I'll be honest, I kind of wished that we would have had the chance to talk to everyone. But I guess it makes sense that with that kind of a turnout, you just wouldn't have enough time for that. But I wasn't expecting being matched by an algorithm. That was kind of strange and really different than what I was thinking. So moving on to my experience of it. Overall, I would say I had a very good experience and I'm really glad I did it. Would I do it again? Probably not. And the reason why is because it was way too speedy for me. The speed dating was heavy on the speed. And like I said before, it felt really rushed. It felt really fast. Every time they would say that the round was up, literally every time, I was like, wow, that was fast. Like I kept saying that over and over again. And when I was telling my sibling Annie about the experience and I was talking about this part of it, I said, yeah, like each time I felt like we had just gotten done saying hello. And at the same time, we were both like an Ent from Lord of the Rings. I guess I am like an Ent. Like Treebeard said, we never say anything unless it is worth taking a long time to say. Makes sense to me. It just felt really hard to get a good sense of the other person and whether we would be a potential good match for a second date. It was just way too fast for me. It's not the way I'm wanting to date these days. I'm wanting to slow down and be more intentional, and I just need more time than speed dating allows. That being said, I had a really great time for the first half. For the first half, I was so excited. It was just so fun to meet a bunch of people. I am a people person, so I love just talking to people, and it was so cool to be in a room full of fellow queer folks and to be able to be meeting so many cool people and just chatting. I kind of felt like I was just meeting a bunch of new friends. But about halfway through the event, I started to get exhausted. I don't know what happened, but about halfway through, my energy was just draining. And you know, I've thought for a long time that I'm an extrovert, but honestly, this event has me questioning that because I did not feel like I was getting energized from talking to that many people. And so I don't know if it's that I'm actually more of an ambivert perhaps, or if it was just that environment specifically was really draining. And I actually brought something specifically for the event. It is my Big Talk question cards. These have appeared on my channel before. I've had them for many years and I really love them. I found them through a TED Talk by the creator, Karina Silverman. I often pull these out with family and friends. Sometimes I pull them out for dates with myself. And I decided to bring them to this speed dating event. And that was a great decision. That ended up being a really nice addition to my experience. I didn't use them on every date. I kind of would feel it out and see if that particular person seemed like they might like doing the cards or not. And I always asked for consent. I always said, hey, I brought these question cards. Would you like to pull a card? And no one said no, but if someone had, obviously, I would be like, no worries, and put them back away. But you know, I would pull them out of the box and I would fan them like this and let someone choose. I will say I needed a better shuffling system because 2 or 3 times people pulled the same exact card that the person from the last date pulled. So that was kind of a bummer for me because I had to answer the same question. But obviously the new person didn't know. But what I loved about them is it seemed to really put people at ease. There were some people that didn't need the cards. They were just talkers like me, and we were just chatting, and there was no room or time for the cards because we were just chatting the whole time. But then there were a lot of people who, you know, seemed pretty nervous, weren't really sure what to say or what to ask. And so when I announced to them that I had these cards, their face lit up and they were like, yeah, I would love to, you know, or whatever their version of that was. And it seemed to be a relief that I had those cards, and quite a few people got like really excited about it. So I was really glad that I brought them. Going into it, I was thinking that maybe a lot of people would not like the cards and think that it was cheesy, but I didn't get that reaction from anyone. Like, everyone thought it was really cool and liked it. So it was a great way to connect, but it was also a great way for me to be my authentic self, to practice being my authentic self, because I mean, you can see how well loved these cards are by the corners of the box, you know, being all ripped and curled. I love these things, and these cards are just very me, so it was cool to be able to share that with my 5-minute dates. So I ended up with 5 matches, and they were all friendship matches. I actually only selected date, I think 3 times. Out of the 10 people, I only selected date 3 times, and thinking back, I think it was the speediness. It wasn't that I wasn't open to more people to go on a second date. It was just, I just didn't feel like I knew them well enough to know if I would want to go on a date again. And so it was kind of more based off of just like initial attraction, like an initial spark. But I'm also kind of leaning away from just going off of a spark, because I've been there, done that, and that's not how I'm wanting to date right now. Sometimes that spark is trauma and or attachment issues. Not saying it always is, but just it can be. And yeah, like I said, I'm wanting to like slow down and be more intentional. So I don't know, I was just like a little bit disoriented, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to select date again. It felt like the stakes were really high. So that was really nice to have 5 friendship matches. It felt very affirming that the people that I felt like I connected with the most felt the same way about me. Now, since the event itself, not all of them have turned into actual real life connections. I did end up reaching out to 4 of the 5 right away. One I chose not to, just because we had ended up talking a little bit after, and I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling too much of a connection, and I don't think they were either. So I just sort of let that one go. But the other 4, I reached out to each of them right away. And so far, one of them has not responded. One has responded, and we actually have already hung out and have plans to hang out again. So huge success. And then another one, we took a picture together and I texted it to her, and I'm going to reach out again to try to make plans. And then the last one has been a little bit of a confusing experience, but I will get to that later. But I did realize that I forgot to mention that the last part of the way that this whole thing works is how you get your matches. So again, I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention when they told this part, or if they just didn't explain it, but I did not know how we would be receiving our potential matches. And so I actually left the event thinking that maybe I didn't match with anyone. And I'll be honest, that was a little tough to sit with. That was a little tough. I was like, oh wow, like I didn't get any matches at all? Like, that's why? Like, it was you know, like some initial thoughts were coming up of like, what's wrong with me? Like nobody liked me, no one at all, not even one person. And I am really proud of myself for the way that I sat with it though, because I was able to kind of talk to myself and reassure myself that, you know, it's okay. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me or that I did anything wrong. It just maybe means that, you know, my people, the people that I will connect with the most, weren't at that event. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're not out there. It just means that they weren't there. And, you know, this was a learning experience, blah, blah, blah. So I actually did sit with those feelings. And again, I'm really proud of myself for that. But I did end up getting those, those 5 friendship matches. And they came to my email the following day. So I don't know, I think I just kind of expected it to be like at the end of the event, we would get our matches so that we could like go talk to the person. That's what I thought, but that's not how it worked. You went home, you had to go to sleep and wake up the next day. And then it was like, I want to say like at 10 a.m. or something like that. So it wasn't even like you wake up and you have your matches. You still had to wait. So a little nerve-wracking, a little bit confusing, but I don't know, that's the way that they did it. There was one person that I talked to before the event. We just happened to be chatting in line, waiting to check in, and I thought they were really cute, and I thought we had a nice little moment, and then we did not get matched during the event, and I was so bummed. When the event was over, I like kind of sped walk into the other room to like look around to see if they were still there. And I was just gonna go up and be like, hey, I know this is off book, but I think you're cute and I was wondering if you'd like to go on a date. But they left. So wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. But you know, the queer community is small. Perhaps I will see them again. I remember their name, so we'll see. But also, you know, it's okay if I don't. So what did I notice about myself? I had shared in a past video that I wanted to go into this event as a learning experience and as kind of an experiment and just observe myself with as much compassion as possible. See like, you know, what did I feel? How did I act? What kind of potential patterns or past behaviors were popping up again? What ways have I grown? What ways do I still want to continue growing? And I will say that I noticed both some growth and some opportunities for more work. So I have a mini story to tell, and the story actually shows both. A bit of my growth and a bit of my opportunities for growth. And it has to do with that 5th person of the 5 friendship matches. Now, the opportunity for growth came in the little speed date because she shared what she was looking for in dating, and it did not align with what I am looking for in dating. However, I still selected her for friendship and date. And I can't remember exactly what my exact thought was at the time. I think it was just, she's really gorgeous. I like her a lot. Date. What can I say? I think that's what the thought process was. And like I said, it was very speedy, okay? I did not have enough time to really reflect. If I had done more reflecting, you know, maybe I would have just selected friend. But yeah, I selected both date and friend. And I think she may have had a little bit of avoidant energy, which, as I have shared on this channel, I am attracted to. I myself struggle with anxious attachment, though I am working on it a lot these days. And so I think I must have sensed that. And that was a part of my attraction. I mean, she was absolutely beautiful. And I was very attracted to her in general. But I think probably I maybe sensed a little bit of avoidance. And I think that was a part of it. But we actually had what I thought was a really great connection. Like, we chatted the whole time, the whole 5 minutes that we got. We laughed a lot, you know. I just thought it was a very nice interaction. It was also the second one. So I think that was the other thing, is I wasn't like super warmed up yet. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay, I have to rate. Like, I did friendship first, then I was like, oh, should I do date? Should I not do date? Ugh. And then I just did it. So I think that was, you know, maybe an opportunity for growth next time, to be like, okay, even though we're very attracted, if we don't align, then, you know, it's time to say goodbye. That kind of rhymed. But my goal was compassion going into the event, and my goal is still compassion. So I'm not going to beat myself up for selecting both options. It's okay. It's all part of the process. And she did select me for friend and not for date. So that definitely affirmed that we were not aligned. So that's okay. So as I said, I did reach out to 4 of the 5 people right away, and she was the one of the ones that I reached out to right away. And though she responded to me right away, she didn't really seem very enthusiastic. And I asked her some questions, and she didn't really respond to my questions very much. And then she would ask me some questions, and I would respond, and I would follow up with some questions to her. And again, she didn't really respond to my questions. And 2 different times, I suggested different ways that we could meet up to hang out as friends, since we had matched as friends. And both times, she did not take me up on the offer. She didn't say no, but she also didn't say yes. And at first, my friends, something clicked in me. Some little subconscious thing that was like, okay, now's the time. We buckle down. We try to get to the bottom of this. We try to figure out how we can make this happen. And then I was like, oh, there's that pattern. I see it. There's that pattern. There's that anxious attachment that got activated by this avoidance that I'm experiencing. And I said, okay, I'm gonna take a step back. And even though I'm disappointed, because I felt like we had a great connection, and I felt like I had adjusted my mindset, I had said, okay, you know, it's not a date, it's a friendship connection, but I still really, really, really wanted that friendship connection. So I had to readjust once again, and I let it go. And I just thought, okay, all right. I don't know why she, you know, selected friend, but maybe she just felt it in the moment, but then like later wasn't feeling it. Whatever the reason, doesn't matter, it's okay. But I am focused on reciprocity these days. I want friends that are going to be wanting to be my friends. I want it to be mutuality. I want us to both be connecting with each other. So I let it go, and I thought that was that. Well, guess what? 2 or 3 days later, I got another text. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay, maybe she did want to hang out, but she's just shy, and she's like waiting for me to, I mean, I've already asked twice, but maybe like, I don't know, I'll give it another chance. So we're chatting a little bit again, and once again, she's asking me questions, I'm responding, I'm asking her questions, she's not responding to my questions. She's not answering them, and she'll just go on to ask me another question. So literally I have no idea why she's doing that or like what the point of that is. But here's the growth, my friends. Not only did I let it go the first time, instead of like trying to pursue, win her over, you know, it was great. I literally was like, Ellie, you don't know her. You like the idea of her, but you don't even know her. And it's okay. You can let go. You have other friends. You will meet other friends. You don't need to chase this person that you don't even know. Ugh, it was great. Big pat on the back, big self-hug, because that is a lot of growth for me. Not only that, but then when she came back with no explanation, and it was very confusing. And after I had let it go, she popped back up a few days later. I don't know why. And you know what? I'm not interested in trying to figure out why. That is huge growth. Because usually I would be like, let me get my notepad, let me do some digging. You know, not usually consciously, but just like, you know, just my default would be like to ruminate over it and be like, oh, why? I don't understand. Like, why is she doing this? Like, what does she want from me? Why doesn't she want to meet up? Like, but I'm not doing any of that. I'm just like, I don't know, that's weird. Like, you have my information. If you ever want to actually hang out, like, you can let me know. And I would be happy to give that a try, but I'm not interested in some sort of weird back and forth that like has no, you know, reasoning behind it. No forthrightness. I would love for all of us to just be more forthright, you know? Just say what you want. Say how you feel. I'm just tired of the games, you know? But I also didn't ghost her, you know? I didn't stop responding in a huff. I've done that before in the past too, you know, where I've just like not responded at all. I didn't do that either. I just like, you know, I responded and I just kind of left it at that. So that's growth. Like I said, overall, really good experience. I'm really glad I did it. I do not think that speed dating is going to be for me. I think that I will be using her more, and I will also just be continuing to build queer community. And so that gives me two potential avenues for finding a good match who's aligned with me. Either the Her app or, you know, meeting someone in the wild, so to speak. And I really am building a lot of queer community right now, and it feels like coming home. It feels amazing. So yeah, that is my experience with my first queer speed dating. I hope I covered everything. I think that was pretty detailed, but if anyone has additional follow-up questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I will look through and I can answer any lingering questions or concerns. Thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far, please put an emoji in the comments that represents the kind of drink you would have on a date or on a friendship hang. It can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic. And if they don't have your specific kind of drink, then feel free to put an emoji that represents it. Like, for example, if you like lemonade, you could put a lemon. Or if you like a strawberry margarita, like me, you can put a strawberry emoji. And I'm going to raise my invisible strawberry margarita and clink your glass. Cheers.